This morning, as I was leafing through the Philadelphia Inquirer and sipping on my cold brew and muffins from a bakery here in Ocean City, I came across two stories that I want to talk about today. And both of these stories show us that maybe little Charlie Dickens was right when he said in A Tale of Two Cities, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times, it was the age of wisdom, it was the age of foolishness. It was the epic of belief. It was the epic of incredulity. It was the season of light. It was the season of darkness. It was the spring of hope. It was the winter of despair. First story we're going to cover is going to cover the age of foolishness, incredulity, and the winter of despair that we are all experiencing right now. First story we're going to talk about is buried on page A4 of the Inquirer. Trump administration seeking $10 million more from Congress for Freedom 250 events. You remember this, right? Started with a UFC fight and ended with an astounding demonstration of American ingenuity and engineering that resulted in melted ice cream and plaster of Paris arcs melting in the summer heat of Washington, D.C. Let's look at the story itself. The Trump administration is asking Congress for an additional $10 million to cover costs related to Freedom 250 events recently held on the National Mall, including a prayer event where they had the flag of Israel flying, a fair, and a fireworks show. Senator Jeff Merkley, the top Democrat on the Senate Appropriations Subcommittee that oversees funding for the mall, said an earlier request from the administration was presented to Congress last week as part of a broader request for short term funding across the government. That request, which asked for an unspecified amount of funding, quote, to recoup costs associated with support of events celebrating America's semi-quincentennial, prompted questions about why the additional funds were needed. In a briefing with Merkley's office, Interior Department staff said that the money was needed to cover routine National Park Service costs incurred during the Rededicate 250 prayer event. Separation of church and state, anyone? What the fuck? The Great American State Fair, and the July 4th Salute to America. Those events were organized by Freedom 250, a public private partnership launched by the White House in December to mark the nation's 250th anniversary. The Great American State Fair was a 16-day event extolled by the president, was beset by poor weather, and saw periods of strikingly low attendance. The Interior Department told the Washington Post on Wednesday that the extra funding was needed to help address security needs, citing recent threats against high profile events such as the UFC event held outside the White House and the attempted shooting at the White House Correspondents' Center. Given the elevated security threats against high profile events in Washington, D.C., an elevated security posture was needed to ensure the safety of the public at these events. This funding would help address the expenditures associated with the elevated security posture, the department wrote in an email. This is total bullshit, guys. If the security were bad, Trump would be dead right now, right? They stopped the fucking shooter at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Nobody of importance got hurt at the events of the Freedom 250 bullshit, right? And just, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about this. I'm just going to turn over to the U.S. News and World Report and show you guys that the Great American State Fair, billed as America's greatest birthday party, this story came out on the 10th. Here's a timeline of what happened. Day one, huge concert scheduled. Everybody backed out because of the shit that Trump was trying to pull. First weekend, attendance was low. You can go back and look at the Fox clips where they were broadcasting live and seeing all 4 or 5 people showing up for the Great American State Fair. You can see that the North Carolina booth was completely empty. Or no, the North Carolina booth had a Confederate flag inside it. Meanwhile, other states didn't send anyone there. And then there was an evacuation on July 4th. Like, these fuckers don't know how to plan anything. And finally, with the holiday over, the fair had another week before wrapping up operations. But things started out rough Sunday morning when Washington officials issued a code red alert for the city's air quality following the fireworks show. Very unhealthy conditions as a direct result of the fireworks that Trump staged. I don't know that there's a lot else to say about this. The guy's a grifter. The second and darkest and more tragic story we came across this morning was that Glenn Hansard died in a motorcycle crash. I'm not going to say a lot about this guy. He meant a lot to me. He was a great musician. Went to see him about a year ago with Swell Season. It's an awesome show. I think we're just going to leave you guys with this today.
Old Trump sent the sheriff to my door, 'cause I couldn't afford to pay my rent no more. Like father, like son, man, he's rotten to the core. Old Trump sent the sheriff to my door. Old Trump, he wants to build a wall 3,000 miles wide and 100 miles tall, and he'll pay those who build it no respect at all. Old Trump wants to build a wall. Old Trump, he wants a travel ban, wants to close the U.S. borders with his fountain pen. He vilifies the Muslim and he won't condemn the Klan. Old Trump wants a travel ban. Old Trump, now he's talking about the bomb. If a North Korean missile goes anywhere near Guam, it'll start a chain reaction that will not be undone. Old Trump is talking about the bomb. He wants a war, but he doesn't want to pay for it. Wants it all, but he doesn't want to pay. Oh, what I wouldn't do to him if I thought I could get away with it. Wants a war, but it doesn't want to pay.